MinCool. D-Day or Operation Overlord was the largest amphibious operation in human history. And now more.
History.
But first, to understand the background, let's travel back 2 years to 1942. The Nazis put pressure on the Soviets because the Red Army's losses were huge. That is why Stalin put pressure on the Allies to open a second front. So the Western Allies, most of the soldiers were Canadians, started Operation Jubilee to capture a port, but was abandoned because of the heavy losses. Stalin continued to pressure the Allies to open a Western front, and Churchill desperately wanted an invasion of Italy. So the Americans and British started planning Operation Husky, the amphibious invasion of Sicily with about 80,000 troops and 600 tanks on the first day. The invasion of Italy stopped in September 1943 and Stalin's pressure grew. After the Trident Conference, plans increased in May 1944. The landing was postponed from May to June because there were too few ships and also because the meteorologists found the best time for the weather. Operation Fortitude was the operation of Allied intelligence, the German Secret Service, which brought false information that the invasion was in Pas-de-Calais and Norway. Troops were built, private messages of non-existent soldiers, the British Fourth Army was invented, dummies of landing craft and few soldiers with fake troop insignia. Paratroopers were used in part of Operation Neptune, 13,000 American paratroopers and 10,000 British paratroopers, to capture strategic objectives on the morning of June 6 as well as places in Normandy. The Western Allies dropped paratrooper dummies from the planes, deceiving the Germans. The British 3rd Infantry Division landed at Sword with 30,000 troops, and a small detachment of French soldiers, and was tasked with taking Cannes. At Juno Beach, the 3rd Canadian Infantry Division, the 2nd Canadian Armoured Brigade and the 1st Canadian Paratrooper Battalion and Flank Protection landed with 14,000 soldiers. Gold Beach stormed the British 50 Infantry Division with 25,000 troops to establish a bridgehead with Omaha Beach. Omaha Beach, 34,000 American infantrymen landed, was the heaviest beach of all the beaches and had the greatest resistance, greater than Juno Beach. Omaha Beach landings were divided into 8 zones: Charlie, Dog Green, Dog White, Dog Red, Easy Green, Easy Red, and on June 7 the remaining German troops withdrew due to Allied superiority. At Pointe du Hoc, a small detachment of Rangers, 225 soldiers led by Lieutenant Colonel James Earl, landed to disable 5 German artillery pieces. And on the last beach, Utah Beach, 20,000 American infantrymen landed and the beach was poorly defended. The Allies made it possible to support the armed forces and airborne landings with air superiority. During the invasion on June 6 there were only 2 German planes and the Allies had 13,000 planes at the time of the invasion. Many German planes were in the interior so that they would not be hit by the Allied bombs or at the Pas-de-Calais. So the Germans first had to move their planes and were attacked by the Allied planes. The Allied bombers destroyed the rear. And Allied fighters searched for German troops and attacked them so that their own forces would not be involved in fighting. The losses at Operation Overlord were large, 124,000 American casualties of which 20,000 died, 65,000 British casualties of which 11,000 died, Canadian losses 18,000 of which 5,000 died, and the German losses were between 4,000 and 9,000. After the Allies formed bridgeheads and secured supplies, they pushed further and further into the interior of France. Cherbourg liberated on July 16, Caen liberated on July 19, and Paris was liberated on August 25. The Western Allied advance became faster and faster. Operation Overlord ended on August 25, 1944.